Welcome back to IELTS 9. What you're about to watch is a recording of a recent lesson that I had with a student who is preparing for the TOEFL test. For more materials, reading passages, writing task 1 and 2, including the academic discussion, and speaking practices, you can go to our website, TOEFL.page. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and let's begin. But for example, the student says something like, "Oh, I'm thinking about studying business instead of whatever I'm studying right now."
She wanted to quit philosophy classes because she thought that it will be not help for her during the career after the university, and she wanted to change.
I see. Well, if A was going to be the correct answer, they should say something like, the professor can say something like, "Oh yeah, I mean, most schools actually look for people who have some experience in this field." Or, "Oh yeah, a lot of the people who get into good universities are people who have graduated from business." If it was this, he would say, "Are we really sure that you want to do that?" Or, "Some people say that, for example, there is no job market for people who study this thing." Or, have you thought this through? Do you think this is the best path to follow? Things like that. He is implying that it may not be the best choice. It could help the student clarify her career goals. Now, let me ask you, if this was the answer, what would the professor say?
He would say that it is a good idea.
Correct, so it would be something positive. But also, in what ways would it be positive?
But they will probably talk about career goals, not about changing the class. So they will change the topic a bit of the conversation.
I'm not sure about...
Give me a second, I will open the door.
Okay, no worries.
Let's come on. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. For this one, I'm assuming the professor will say something like, "Well, this is really good because most people, when they are in university, they are not sure what they want to do with their future. And by studying this course, you may understand if you really want to become a business person or not." Maybe something like that. Or, I mean, this is university. It's a good time for you to just talk to different professors and be around different students who have similar goals. And that may help you realize if you really want to do this or not.
Okay.
Like when we say clarify, it means maybe she is not sure about the career goals that she has. But by studying this course at university, by studying business, it becomes more clear for her what she wants to do or what she doesn't want to do. So the professor can say either one of those. He can say, "Oh, a lot of people think they want to do this, but after studying business, they realize they don't want to." Or vice versa. And the job market, this one is clear.
This recording was a bit confusing for me because they started talking about the changing of the main class, and then the teacher, the professor, said that it is not a good idea and found some reasons, and they skipped it. And they were starting talking about two differences between philosophers.
Okay, let's see. Why does the student mention Johnson and Berkeley? So you only had one mistake here?
Yes, only with the two, with the second question. Okay,
let's see. So I cannot assume that. Let's see. Question 4, Johnson's argument, and then this is the action at the end. I don't really know what the main topic is about, but I'll try to skip a little and see what they say about the business part.
About finding a job after I graduate.
Because, let's see, people with a degree in philosophy don't have anything to offer employers, right?
Well, kind of.
This could be another question. You may get a question that says, "Why does the professor say this?" And the professor is not really saying that. He is just trying to see if the student thinks that. But probably the professor doesn't. Pay attention to what he says. I mean, this is not for this question. I'm just mentioning it for a different
Yes, I understand. Yep.
Because, let's see, people with a degree in philosophy don't have anything to offer employers, right?
Now, he is just checking to see if the student thinks that. which seems to be a common idea among students, but it's wrong, probably, according to the professor. Like, oh, because you think it's this way, right? And then if the student says yes, I assume the professor will continue by saying no, actually.
Well, kind of. Lots of my friends are business majors. I need to study something that'll actually prepare me for a career.
If I had $1 for every time I...
Oh, yeah. You know this phrase, if I had $1 for every time someone said that. It means
I got it. Yeah.
a lot of people think that, but it's probably not correct.
I heard that. Okay. Studying something like business is great preparation, of course, especially for people who already know their career goals. But for those who don't, well...
So the way he said it, it means the student is not in this group. The student is not among the people who need to clarify their goals, I assume.
What's yours? What are your goals?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So could be this one as well. So let's see.
So for you, perhaps it's not the best option.
That's a good point.
So business. Now I realize what the professor thinks about business. The professor thinks it's not good for people who do not know their career goals. So C is not going to be a good option. So because business doesn't help you clarify your goals. And also, don't tell me what the correct answer is, but just tell me what you chose as the correct answer.
I choose C.
Oh, you chose C.
Yes.
Interesting. But now you see why it wouldn't be the answer, because the professor said...
Yes.
Very nice.
I was confused because they skipped to this comparing to Johnson and second philosopher, and I missed this information. So that's why.
Anytime the test offers you two options or a comparison between two things, make sure you pay attention to both. So why business? Why not business? Why philosophy? Why not philosophy? In your head, you should always consider those options.
Okay.
With a major in philosophy, besides the possibility of grad school, which I think would be wonderful for you, you know lots of things that are valuable in any career.
Like what? How Johnson tried to refute Berkeley's empiricism?
Well, what did Johnson do?
Well, you know, what Berkeley said.
Okay, so I guess we are moving on to question 3. So it's not C. There may be fewer jobs in this field than the student thinks. This means the professor will have a negative opinion about this idea. He will say, yeah, you cannot really find a job if you do this. But did he say anything like that?
No, he didn't.
Okay, so these two are not good. Now, between A and B. A, it means the professor thinks it's good, and also it's good for the student. B means maybe the professor thinks business in general is good, but it's not a good choice for her.
And the B was correct answer.
And how do we know? When the professor said, well, if you don't really know what you want to do with this thing, with this field, probably you shouldn't really go for it. Like, it's good for people who do know what they want from their careers. But if you don't know, and if you need to clarify your goals, if you need someone to help you clarify your goals, business is not good. Now they move to another topic. Very nice. Does it make sense why this was the correct option?
Yes, it is. After when I checked the correct answer, I was sure when I made mistake.
Very nice. Now, also you can think about it this way. This is positive. This is maybe positive, maybe negative, but for her, it's not the best choice. Or maybe the professor doesn't really say anything good or bad. It just says for you, it's not the best. And this one is positive. This one, negative in general.
Negative.
So just the tone and the vibe that they have for each question can also help you. So, but still, very impressive. Most students don't get 5 from 6 in lectures or 4 from 5 here. Now, let's go back to conversation 2. You said also one mistake.
Conversation 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I made a mistake in question 4.
Why does the man change the time that the vans will meet the students after the concert? Interesting. I have no idea what this one is about, but it seems to be a simple question.
It was a group. It was a group of the students. Then they organizing the transport for the concert, and they were discussing about the changing the time of the coming back from the concert.
Mm-hmm. And what happened during the test?
Why
Did you?
We can listen full of this because it was. I think it was quite complicated at the beginning.
But you still got 4 from 5. So were you guessing or?
No. It was a lot of information that they were discussing. For example, okay, we have a meeting appointment in the school. So let's change this meeting appointment place. Let's change the place. Let's change the time. Let's change the activities. They change everything during this 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay, we'll do this one. And after this, we'll do lecture 2 or lecture 1. One, you had 3. Actually, you had 3 mistakes in each one. So we will do both of those. Okay, let's start with this one. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. This seems to be shorter than usual. Let's see what happens. Oh.
University employee. Hi, Louise. I have that information you need for our club trip.
I'm sorry, George. I don't remember. So many students have needed transportation arrangements this week. Which trip is it that you're organizing?
It's the jazz club trip. The one we're taking into the city to see that concert by the Victory Jazz Quartet.
Oh, right. That.
Okay, so one person is here to give information about the jazz club. This is the person who is visiting. So let's call him student. And then the other person, let's call him professor, even though she's not probably a professor.
It was in that case.
It's easier to always just call them student and professor. And okay, and she, at first, what happened? They said something for the last 20 seconds, but
she was not remembering this trip.
Which one? Okay, very nice. So she was not sure what trip this person is talking about because there are many students and they each have their own. Now, this can never be the first question. So personally, I don't see a reason to write it down. Now, maybe they include some of the wrong options. I mean, they include this as one of the wrong options. So they include that as the main reason, because usually students think the first thing that is mentioned is the main topic, but it wasn't. So let's see.
Famous group you were telling me about. Last time we talked, you didn't know how many students wanted to go.
Well, according to the sign-up sheet, 27 students have bought a concert ticket.
I assume that could also be a wrong answer for section 1. It may say, student wants to know how many students, for example, will join the trip. But he does know exactly 27 are going to join.
And want a seat on the bus.
27, huh? That won't fill up a bus. We'll have to use a couple of vans, which is actually good. It'll be easier for them to find parking in the city.
Okay. We were thinking that the bus, the vans, should leave around 3 o'clock. That way we'll be in the city around 4:30.
Or later. Don't forget about rush hour.
That'll still give us plenty of time. We already have tickets, but this theater doesn't have assigned seating, so we need to get there early, like around 7:30, to get good seats.
So what are you going to do with all that extra time?
Oh, go find dinner, walk around, whatever. Then we'll meet back at the theater.
Why not eat together?
Well, if people get their own meals, then we don't have to worry about restaurant reservations, about finding a place that can handle such a large group.
But if you all go separate ways, there's bound to be somebody who'll turn up late or get lost or something.
Oh, I know this group. They're not like that.
You know, I've scheduled a lot of student trips. If I were you, I'd think about going out for something like, say, pizza. Some of those places are pretty big. And who doesn't like pizza?
Well, I'll check with the group and see what they think. Anyway, the tickets say the concert ends around 10, but I'm pretty sure it'll be later than that before we get out of the theater. You know, with encores and the crowds.
All right, then. I'll have the vans pick you up at 10:15. But everybody better be there. The van drivers won't wait around.
Well, in that case, let's make it a little later, like 10:30.
All right. Did you bring the deposit?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that was the question that you got wrong.
Yes.
So the student said, suggested a time to be picked up. Professor said, okay, but if you are late, they won't wait for you. Student said, okay, just to be safe, let's change the time. And for example, let's move it forward. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to write it down, but let's change the time.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it.
They can come later than initially planned. And the professor probably says, okay.
I did what you suggested, asked everybody to give me some money to reserve their space on the bus. They know they'll have to pay more once we know what the total is.
I'll have to run a few numbers to get the final cost.
Okay, and they are not sure
About
the cost, final cost. But the students are okay with it, just in case there is a question for that.
Vans are a lot cheaper than buses, but we'll have to pay for 2 drivers. They'll charge us by the hour. Of course, you'll get the normal student discount from the van company, and I'll deduct your deposit. I can let you know the balance tomorrow.
None of that information we care about. They are just discussing the finances.
So many informations, and some of them are important, some of them are not important. So
the finance is never going to be really that important. Like, okay, we'll take 10% off for the discount, then we'll add $10 for this. Just know that vans cheaper than buses, but they need 2 vans. So it may be more expensive than 1 bus. Technically, that's what happened. So they said vans are cheaper, but instead of 1 van, we are going with 2 vans, which makes it... But in that case, they could just go with a bus. Then why go with a van? But let's see. What is the conversation mainly about?
it was about arrangements for an upcoming students trip.
Very nice. So it was it could also say something like planning transportation and like planning the activity, including transportation. Because it wasn't just the transportation, it was the time, the what they are going to do,
how many people,
how many people. So the whole plan.
General informations.
Very nice.
Information.
Why did the students want to get to the theater early?
At the beginning, I thought that it will be about the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But the right answer is C, to be able to get good seats.
Interesting that I didn't write it down. I could just remember it, but I didn't write it down. Now, why? I believe many students would go with B. I also thought about answering B. But why not B?
B or D?
B. What did they say about traffic? And who said something about traffic?
The teacher.
The professor said, why not go later? Because if you go early, it will be rush hour. And then the student said, we don't really, it's not a big issue. We don't really care too much about that.
I was remembering your words that if the question will be different, that why do the teacher want to get to the theater early? That will be to avoid
rush hour traffic. Very nice. And not that why the professor wants to go, but why does the professor suggest that students go to the theater early? Very nice. But either way, in a different test, that could be the question. What is the woman's attitude toward the students' plan to eat separately? She didn't like it, if I remember correctly.
Yes. She's convinced that there will be a problem.
Mm-hmm. And there are many reasons why she thinks that. So first of all, there will be lots of people, and they are going to go around the city. Someone may get lost. There may be some issues. Someone may... I don't remember any of the other issues, but she kept bringing up issues, and the guy kept saying, no worries, it's fine.
She said that it will be easy to sit together and eat pizza.
If they go with the professor's suggestion, it will be easy. And the to eat separately, this is the man's plan. This is the student's plan when he said they can go around, do whatever they like, and then come back. I don't really remember exactly, but I assume it was everyone can go do whatever they want, and at a specific hour they will come back. And the lady said, well, are you sure? It's a lot of people. You have to arrange things. Then someone may get lost. Someone may not show up on time. And the guy kept saying, no worries. So I assume it's A. It seems like a good option, but let's see what else we have. She approves. Well, because they will not be able to get a reservation. No, this is not what she thought. She doesn't believe that they have planned enough time to eat separately. Interesting, some students may go for this.
But nothing about it.
Until here, wait, she doesn't believe that they have planned enough time. No, she didn't actually say anything about eating alone or eating together taking more or less time. She thinks it would be cheaper. So money is the problem. Time is the problem. She likes it. And she is sure that there will be many problems. Personally, I think A would be a better answer. Because now the real reason...
A was correct.
The real reason I went with A is I didn't really remember exactly what her problem was. I remember, also this happens in the test. I remember the guy saying, it's fine, nothing will go wrong. And the woman kept saying, I just remember her tone, her attitude. She was like, are you sure? Like, what if something like this happens? What if a student doesn't come back? What if someone gets... And I just remember that she had many problems with it. And C and D mention a problem. And then this one just says problems. Now, if I'm not sure what the problem was, and I just remember many problems, it's a safer option. It's a safer bet to go with A. What about 4? Now you know it, obviously.
Here I made the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it was unimportant information, I think. Because when I was thinking about it, it was, I was remembering whole conversation, but I missed this.
Anytime they say, instead of doing this, let's do something else, you should always try to remember why they suggested, and if they decide to do it or not, and who suggested it. So it was right here. It said, professor said, if you are late, they won't wait for you. And then the guy said, okay, you know what? And this is usually like how they say, okay, so in that case, well, let's do it this way. Let's, just to be safe, we can do it at 8 p.m. instead of, for example, 7 p.m. So we have enough time to gather everyone and be sure that everyone can be there when the vans arrive, so that no one will be left behind. It should be C. And what about, is it a tone question? What information will the woman give the man tomorrow? Okay, the final thing.
Final information about the money, D, the amount of money the student will owe.
Oh, wait, the test actually made this one a little more difficult. It's not separating money and other topics. All 4 options are about money. So it's the cost of the tickets, the charges for the drivers, the money that students need to deposit, and the money that the students still owe. So all 4 are about money. And let's see, the cost of the tickets? No, the tickets are already... They are fixed, probably. The tickets are not going to change money. The hourly charges for the van drivers. She just said the drivers charge hourly. But she didn't say that they changed their rates based on weather or whatever else. They just have a fixed hourly rate, and they cannot really know how many hours they are going to be there. So, wait, you answered correctly?
Yes.
Okay. The amount of money the students still owe, and the amount of money the students need to deposit. Honestly, if I was taking the test, I wouldn't remember this.
She asked, did you pay the deposit? And he said, yes, we paid it. And then she said something that I have to check it, and I will give you tomorrow information of the
remaining of the
remaining money. Something like this.
So that should be D, but I'm not really sure. I mean, in the test, honestly, I wouldn't answer D. Probably I would be somewhere between C and D. Because I stopped paying attention near the end, I assumed it's not going to be important. What I expected the test to do was say the amount of money they owe, the time when they need to, for example, arrive, and the type of film they are going to watch. I expected different topics, not all 4 about money. This makes it a little more difficult. Now, let's see. Lecture 1. What happened here? Let's see if I know this one. Jackson Pollock. I know this one, and I hate this one. Because I hate Jackson Pollock. Do you know Jackson Pollock?
Yes, I know.
Also, is he Polish?
No.
Oh, okay. Just asking to make It's I was going to have a mind blown moment. I was like, oh no.
The Polish guy was Beksiński. Do you know him?
No. Oh, the guy who got caught in the Coldplay concert. Are we talking about that guy, or am I completely off topic?
Oh, I'm not good on art, so.
Oh, wait, no, I'm talking about CEO caught in Coldplay concert.
No, it's not this one. No, he's not Polish.
And wait, are you talking about Alex Mashinsky?
No.
No? This guy was a scammer in the crypto industry.
In the crypto, no. Beksiński, B-E-G
Okay, wait, let's Google take care of it. How to do a back handspring. No, I don't think I'm not even close. So let's say it again. BAC.
Well, give me a second, I'll check here.
Okay, I think I found it.
Zdzisław Beksiński.
That first name, I could spend 5 days trying to pronounce this one. I would still be wrong at the end of it.
And this is funny because these names are made with 2 Polish words.
So this is 2 words? One is Slav, but then the other one is...
It's like to pray, to elaborate. Huh. It's like one word.
Uh-huh. And then this one is one word?
This one is second one, and then I don't know what is it really about. It's about like being confused or something like this. So it's
also,
like
wait, as you were talking, I couldn't help but just being amazed by this artwork. This is probably some of the most beautiful artwork I have ever seen.
Yeah, it is. And this is one of the most famous Polish painters.
Uh-huh. I mean, he deserves the fame. I mean, these are beautiful. I would definitely have some in my house if I knew about
and
this.
I'm not sure, but I think it was the same time. It was the same time that they were working with Pollock at the same time.
Wait, this guy was working with Pollock, or no, they were both alive
at the same time? They were living and they were artists in the same period of time.
This is eye-opening because you can look at this and realize, I mean, how beautiful art can be. And then you get an idiot like this guy. I mean, he was not an idiot. The people who actually buy his artwork are idiots. But even not those people, because they are buying it for tax evasion. You know that artwork is not taxable?
Yeah.
So if you want to save, like if you want to just park your money somewhere instead of a bank, just buy a 20 million artwork. And then when you want to just get rid of your laundered money, someone else is trying to launder money, their drug money, so they will buy the painting from you. And it's basically crypto. I mean, the art industry is just crypto industry in a different form. It's NFTs, but the OG NFTs. So,
and sometimes you think, okay, I have too much money, let's spend it to buy something.
No, it's saving. No, trust me, none of them are buying a 20 million painting just because
of course, I know.
It's, if I have $20 million in the bank, the government is going to just slowly just put its dirty hand on it. But if I buy this, God damn, it looks, do you know, it looks exactly like, I mean, when I think about this, my father had a workshop where he just built new things in the garage. Every time he was working, he had some like piece of plywood under like his under whatever he was doing, like like a table, and then it always looked like this, always, without exception. So, God damn it, I hate this guy. But let's see. Let's begin. I think I remember some things about this, or maybe not. Training. I think I remember some things about this. And what about this one? Oh, the dinosaur one. Okay. Which one do you want to do first? Which one was more difficult?
With the Pollock, we can start.
Okay. 4 minutes. It's also shorter than... They are both 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, that's an interesting coincidence. Let's see.
Listen to part of a lecture in an art history class.
Okay, at the end of our last class, I started to talk a little bit about a dominant movement in United States painting in the late 1940s and the 1950s. And I said that the artists involved shared a spirit of revolt against tradition and belief in spontaneous freedom of expression. This significant art movement is known as abstract expressionism. Now, abstract expressionism is kind of hard to define, but it's basically an attempt by the artist to convey meaning or feeling in an abstract way. So the artists didn't worry about whether they were painting familiar.
Generally, when in the lectures, sometimes they give you the definition of what they are talking about. And sometimes it's not the same that you would imagine it to be. So anytime they the professor defines what they are going to talk about, it's a good idea to write it down. So what is this art movement? Well, it's an attempt to express meaning or feelings in abstract ways.
Your subject matter, like the kinds of things you'd see in the world around you.
And usually it gets followed by examples or people who were very active and the examples, or maybe followed by...
That's why he mentioned Pollock to give more details.
It makes sense. Sometimes...
I think it's the first question I remember.
We'll get to it. Also, sometimes the structure is not just focusing on the example. It's, this is this type of movement. It, for example, achieved 3 different things. And the famous person who, for example, was involved was Jackson Pollock. Or here are 3 theories about why it happened. And here is a famous artist who was involved. So we don't, at this point, I don't know which direction they want to go with. So I will just write down the definition and see what happens next.
Abstract way. So the artists didn't worry about whether they were painting familiar subject matter, like the kinds of things you'd see in the world around you. They'd paint, well, abstract things on a huge canvas, which itself was a break from traditional technique. And it was common among artists to apply the paint to the canvas very rapidly and with great force. So let's look at the work of the most famous American abstract expressionist, Jackson Pollock. There was nothing in Jackson Pollock's training as an artist that suggested he would come to be seen as some sort of artistic revolutionary.
Okay, this kind of information is important. Not in a sense that it's just biography and what he did in the past. It's just he wasn't trained for this specific type of art. Or this contradicts, or not contradict, this goes against, or maybe that would be too strong of a suggestion to say.
Traditional training techniques. Like this.
This goes against his background, let's say. Doesn't really go against it, but for me, as a note, I would write this in the test just to be sure.
This is where I made a mistake.
Is that question 2?
Yes.
I see. We'll get to it.
In the 1930s, he studied drawing and painting at the Art Students League, a popular art school in New York City. What he did later, in the 1940s, was a startling innovation. Jackson Pollock used a technique, the so-called pour and drip technique, for which he is best known. He didn't use the traditional easel. He laid his wall-size canvas.
Okay, I was waiting for something traditional or classic. And so what he was studying was using just the traditional stuff. He innovated, or he did something completely different. Which is, again, the exact same thing that we said. So he did one thing in the past, then he changed. Now we are actually giving the details of what he studied and what he did different in the future.
It's flat on the floor so he could move around.
Now, the details of that we don't really care about. We just need to know he was studying one thing, then he did something completely unique.
It and work it from all sides. Then,
a question may say, why does the professor mention the brush techniques, for example, or the painting techniques? And then you'll say, to show that Jackson Pollock
innovative work of Jackson Pollock's.
Very much. Or how he studied one thing, but then he did something else.
He poured and dripped his paint onto the canvas without touching it with a brush. Just poured and dripped.
Yeah, because using a brush takes skill. And he was probably realizing that he doesn't have that one element.
He had to be a really bad traditional painter.
It's like, some people actually paint things. I don't want to do that. I'll just move the paper around and hope something happens.
Now, the physical movements.
There is also a new wave of art on social media. It's like housewives trying to forcing themselves to become artists, and they just use a canvas, put lots of oil paint on it, or just paint of any kind, and then just hold it this way or hold it that way, and the paint starts moving. And what you get is actually really colorful, beautiful things. But it's just, you didn't do anything. You just put
and there's I like to listen to the Polish 2 guys. They have a podcast. and they are.
Of course they do. Everyone has a podcast.
They give a comments to the normal day's activity, and the main information that you can find on internet.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that,
like pop culture, Japan, for example.
Mm-hmm. In Japan, they will pay you 1,000 yens if you will put on the special helmet, and they will keep your things, keep your ideas from your brain, and they will make AI will make the painting of this. What you have been thinking about.
Wait, that's real?
This is what I have listened from these guys, and they were joking that we will pay 1,000 to see what art is in our brain.
I will pay 2,000 for people not to see what's in my brain.
Even if it's art.
I could call it a lot of things. Let's see what happens.
So that's why when I was listening about the Pollock, and I said, "Oh my God, let's stop it here, like this moment." And I checked his famous arts, and I said, "Okay, I understand why in this time in the world they discovered the most important drugs."
The thing is, I remember the first time I searched for Jackson Pollock, because everyone I studied art in high school, and everyone was like, Jackson Pollock. I was home, and I was like, you know what? Let me just take a look at what this guy is doing. And I did exactly what we did together. I wrote down Jackson Pollock paintings. I went to images. Just imagine how disappointed I was at that, how angry I was at that moment.
And I like this guy, Andy Warhol.
Oh.
Because he was a personality. I don't like his art. He was for me like a Bob Dylan or David Bowie. These are like icons. But here's this guy on the left, Basquiat. I don't get it.
You get it. Earlier you said these are characters. It's not really about the art. It's about the character. Because obviously you have a child. I mean, I have seen your child. Yeah. She came and said hi one day. I'm pretty sure she has some notebooks from 5 years ago. And I'm sure if you look into them, you are going to find something like this. Or like this.
Yes.
And even for a 5-year-old, that would be a bad painting. But if you are a rich, kind of elitist person, you go to these meetings with a suit on and you're like, oh my God, look at whatever this thing is. It's a pizza. It's a guy eating pizza. It's so bad. But as you said, these are personalities. They don't care if the art is good or bad. Also, I guess maybe crazy hairstyles just comes with the territory at that point, because all of them have crazy hairstyles. And I mean, also we could have this conversation and just go on with it, because it's one of my favorite topics. But for example, look at this guy and what he is trying to do. Then you get a filmmaker like Jim Jarmusch. And now look at him. Now look at this guy. And look at him. Look at this guy. Look at him. And their art is almost exactly the same kind of pretentious.
Maybe I should change something. I will be the...
They all make pretentious, meaningless things, but we have to pretend it's meaningful. Now, okay, before we get... I can go on like for hours on that topic. Let's see. Also, that's why I changed from art to English, to literature. Because at least there is meaning in literature.
To start talking about something important.
At least when we read a book, we understand something. It's not a painting of a crazy guy eating pizza.
Yeah, let's see. It's not about the painting. I mean, the action of the painting.
Let's see.
In Pollock's painting technique have led people to call it action painting, which almost suggests that the process of creating the painting physically was at least as important as the end product itself. In fact, people used to watch him work.
When they say things like this, it's usually important. So the process, the activity was almost as important as the final result. Now, I don't know how they would turn it into a question, but it seems like something important.
In his studio, dripping and pouring paint and other materials onto his canvases. This could make you think of Pollock's work as being kind of like wild or chaotic or random.
Okay, pay attention to how he said it. This may, or this could, make you think of his work as chaotic and random. Immediately, you should say the opposite in your head. So the professor is going to say, but it wasn't. Very nice. So, and then you can think about the opposite. It was organized, planned, and intentional, for example. The opposites of random and chaotic.
But the truth is that Pollock was in complete control of his materials and his paintings. Pollock's pour and drip works were quite revolutionary, and at first they shocked the art world. Pollock used massive canvases. They seem more like portable murals than anything else. A good example.
They shocked the people, and then you're like, oh, wow, what did they do? You're like, they were extremely big. You know how normal canvases were like 5 meters? This was 10 meters.
Of his technique is the painting Autumn Rhythm, which Pollock painted in 1950. Autumn Rhythm, at first glance, looks like basically just a whole lot of squiggly lines. Rather bizarre, just like a bunch of pointless drips and swirls.
Now, you may get a question that says, why does the professor mention this painting?
To give an example of the shocking Canva.
It's also, let me just silence the phone.
Yeah, sure. No, it was example given to show how the Pollock used these extra techniques in the intentional and controlled way.
Okay, that's getting closer. It wasn't an example of crazy work. It was just, remember what we said exactly before we gave the example.
We say that Autumn River could look like chaotic, but it's true that's intentional and well controlled.
Very nice. Example of something that may look chaotic and random, but it's intentional and controlled. So exactly what we said. You don't even need to write it down. When you write example given, it's an example given of whatever we just said earlier.
But if you look closely, you see what...
This is how you won't be surprised in the test. So as soon as he says, this could make you think, you know exactly what the next sentence is. And then when he says example, you know the next 2, 3, 4 sentences that he's going to say. So example of this, at first it may look this way, but then when you think about it, it is this way. So you already know where this is going, at least for the next 15, 20, 30 seconds.
I had so admired. Beneath all the apparent chaos, there's really a very definite structure of lines, rhythms, and sensations that makes the whole piece work. Sheer randomness would not be nearly as visually appealing as this painting is. You need some structure, even if it's not readily apparent. I've read some articles by other scholars.
Now we are moving on, probably opinion of other people regarding this. Also, maybe if I was in the test, I would write something like, if it was random, it would be bad. It's good, so it means, so it's not random. So it can't be random. So that's what the professor said. He said, if you just randomly do it, it's not going to look good.
Who've, in their discussion of Pollock, some of them like to point out that he painted his canvases while looking down at them, since they were on the ground, as I said. But when we go to a museum, they're up on a wall. They think this is significant because it makes our perspective different. But I mean, well, think of photography. We've all seen photos of the sky, the ground, meaning that the photographer was shooting from different angles. Does that mean that we should put a photo of the sky on the ceiling? Of course not. It wouldn't matter if you're looking at it on a wall or in a photo album on your lap. And I think it's the same with Pollock. It doesn't matter from which angle we view his paintings. It's okay.
I kind of like how as soon as I wrote doesn't matter, it happens sometimes. As soon as I'm typing something, I'm listening to a podcast, for example, and I'm typing something. And as soon as I type something, they also say the exact same word or sentence. Makes me feel really good. It happens quite often because I'm always listening to podcasts in the background.
It doesn't matter from which angle we view his paintings. It's okay that he painted on the floor, and we look at it on the wall. But in spite of his work being shocking and even misunderstood at first, Pollock's work became so influential in the development of abstract expressionism that the artistic community started to shift its attention from Paris, which had been the center of the art world, to New York, where Pollock lived and worked. So Pollock's breakthrough work helped move the focus of contemporary art, and that's one of the measures of his greatness, really.
Okay. So the whole thing was about how this guy, first we introduced abstract expressionism, but that wasn't the main topic. We didn't talk about all the abstract artists and how abstract art affects people, for example. The main focus was Jackson Pollock. So let's see. To point out a common misconception, we did mention a misconception about this, like, for example, how people think it's random, but it's not. But was that the main idea?
No, it was not the main idea.
It was an important idea, but I don't think it was the main thing. Now, maybe if there are no better options, we can go with A, but it wasn't really the main idea. Also, it cannot be because, again, look at the location of when this happened. So, probably not. B?
To help students understand the nature of abstract expression, yes.
Could be. What about C?
To compare Pollock's techniques to that of other abstract expressionist painters.
We never mentioned any other artists. Okay.
To defend Pollock and the abstract expressionists from criticism.
There was no criticism. Again, we said some people don't like it. But the tone wasn't like, it didn't start by saying, well, a lot of people think this is bad, but here is why it's not. Or a lot of people think this and this about these type of art, but here is why they are wrong. That would be the style that we would go with that one, for that one. So I would go with B. What is your answer?
B.
Okay. Now, what point does the professor make about JP training as an artist? I remember this one.
You remember I made wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I choose C.
It taught him how to paint using unconventional methods. A and C are actually kind of similar in a way that they say his training matched what he did later. So A says the training actually prepared him to do what he did later. Actually, it taught him everything he needed to know. But no. And C, actually the art that he claimed was boring was actually the training. So the classical training that he had was boring to him. So this one is changing what was boring and what was new for him. C, it taught him how to use unconventional methods. No, it actually taught him conventional methods, traditional ones. And then he was the person who started using unconventional methods. So that's actually the contrast between his training and what he started doing. And also, D is interesting. It was very different from the type of training most artists receive. So this one is saying difference, but not between his past and his future. It's between Pollock and other people. But no, he said there was a school with lots of other students and everyone was getting the same training. So this is not true. So what is your answer?
Now I know that B will be okay. But I choose C in that case.
In the beginning. It's a common mistake. Because if you don't know what to look for, it can be a little confusing with all the information about techniques and the brushes. But all we needed to know was, where was it? Attempt to express meaning, not common at the time. Oh, here. He wasn't trained for this type of art. This goes against his background. Remember when I wrote this and I said it's against the type of things that he was studying? And then I wasn't sure because it wasn't against it. It was just a different type. I even wanted to write contradicts, which is using the same prefix contra, meaning counter or against something.
Against, yeah.
And they used this one and it makes sense now. What were two features of Jackson Pollock's painting techniques? Well, it was random. It used a lot of speed. All I have is rapid and with force and big canvas. And not based on real objects.
It was B and C.
He painted the canvas while it was on the floor. True, this actually was mentioned at the end. He applied paint by pouring and dripping. This is also correct. He allowed visitors at his studio to help. Oh, definitely not. No one would ever go for that option. But he used walls as a painting surface. Also, no. We know that he used canvases. This question could be harder if they gave you a more confusing A and D. So, also, the answers could be any of the things here. So the brush strokes were very rapid. Not the brush, but the style that he was using, and with force in general for the abstract painters. 4?
Was the professor attitude toward to term action painting? Here I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. All I have is this technique was also known as action painting. And this process was when this concept was when the painting itself, the activity of painting, was as important as just the final product that you got. And the professor seems to like it because, if you just have to go with positive or negative, the whole idea was that this type of painting is good. So obviously the professor is not going to say that it was not good. So let's see. Oh, the questions are a little different. The options are a little different from what I was thinking. Go on.
Yes, I think I choose C here.
Mm-hmm. Represent the sense of movement displayed in Pollock's paintings.
But the A was a good answer.
He thinks it correctly described Pollock's painting technique. Wait a second. It shouldn't be A. Let me see. He considers it less appropriate for Pollock.
Or maybe I choose A. I don't remember now.
D is not going to be the answer. He never said, I'm happy that a lot of people are using it or not using it. And he believes that it represents the sense of movement in Pollock's paintings. He thinks it correctly describes Pollock's technique. Also, Pollock is actually spelled differently here. Just realized. And actually, that's a good sign. That means someone actually typed this instead of just copy-pasting it. Also, just a professional tip, if you use ChatGPT, from time to time, put an intentional mistake in there so that people think it's actually real. I learned that the hard way. Now, let's see. Personally, I would go with B. I don't really remember what happened. But what I have written down is he said, well, there was a type of painting called action painting. And, oh, wait, he also did something completely different. I don't really remember what happened here. There are two different possible ideas in my head. One, it's abstract painters usually do this, and it's called action painting. But what Pollock was doing was different. I don't think that's going to be how this is answered. It's probably A or C. Honestly, I would have no answer for this one in the test because I don't really remember what happened.
I think let's change the answer because I will tell you where I made mistake. I also decide between A and C.
Now, the reason I don't go with B is because we didn't really talk about other artists and for them being correct, but for Pollock not being correct.
And what is the answer? Can you check it?
Maybe A? It has to be A. Now, the only reason I went with A instead of C...
So I choose C.
This one is not a really good question. Also, keep in mind, these are not real TOEFL questions. These are just, again, ChatGPT material. But the thing is, this one focuses more on just the movement. This one more generally talks about the technique, which also includes the movement, but also includes all the other stuff about the technique, which was more about actually how they apply the paint and not so much about the movement of the... Also, interesting one that I just realized. And also, we should have a break for long classes, but this is because my brain is not working as it should. Also, maybe because I haven't had breakfast. I never do. But it says, the sense of movement displayed in the painting. It's not talking about the artist moving. This is just something I realized the second time I read it. This is about how movement is shown in the paintings.
Okay.
So this is why it can be a little confusing. We were talking about the artists actually moving around, and they actually moving the canvas or moving
The
themselves.
move on the paint.
Very nice. This is just a movement that is shown in the picture. So it has nothing to do with the action painting, with the technique or anything. Just it shows, for example, someone running fast in the painting. That would be movement this way. So, what feature of autumn rhythm? It was autumn rhythm? I wrote river here, but you get the same idea. I didn't write the second part. Then I had to think back and remember what it was. Honestly, river sounds better for this one. What feature of autumn rhythm does the professor imply is representative of Pollack's work? This one is easy. This is when we said if it was random, it would be bad, but it's not random because it's actually good. B, definitely wrong.
So C will be good?
Very nice, because B is definitely wrong.
Structure and the appearance of chaos?
Now, I will explain why that's a good option. But first, why B is a bad option. Because that's the exact opposite of what we are looking for. The guy said this is a good painting. And it's not random. And it has control. So it's not a lack of control. C says it combines structure, control, and organized stuff, and the appearance of chaos. Not chaos, appearance of chaos. So it seems chaotic.
Appearance of chaos, okay.
But it's not. Pay close attention to this. This is very similar to one of the questions that we had in the herbivore, one of my favorite passages.
Herbivores, yeah.
And it said, they all eat grasses, bushes, and herbs, and they all appear to be on this diet. But then it said, but probably they aren't. Here. They all appear to be living on the same diet, but this appearance may be wrong or inaccurate. So this is, it seems random, but it's not. That was actually the whole thing.
Yeah, so now I see the mistake, okay.
And why does the professor discuss photography? Interesting question. I have no notes from it, but I remember what the point was. What do you remember?
Support his argument about the way people look at Pollack's paintings.
Forget about that part.
Okay, what was? Okay, he said that he was painting on the ground, and then the art was moved to the walls.
And why did he mention that?
To show that we can look with the different angles.
And why did he need to say that? Because some artists actually were criticizing the idea that, okay, this is actually first painted this way, and then we put it that way. So then he said some people, I don't remember if it was criticism or just some people didn't like the idea. But then he said, well, if this was the case, then for photography, we would also do the same. And then he gave the example of a sky, for example. So if we take a picture of a sky which is above us, we are not going to have the museum have the photo like on the wall. We're on the ceiling, for example. We'll just put it on the wall. So it's a different angle, but it doesn't matter. And he was giving an example of another art style, or not style, but a field of art that actually uses different angles, but displays them with other angles. Okay, so let's see. To emphasize how different it is from painting, definitely not.
No. To make a point about this increasing popularity in New York's art world.
No.
To show the extent of Pollack's influence. Pollack's influence was that the Paris was not important place, that the New York was.
But even, regardless of what Pollack's influence is, remember when he talked about the paintings? Was it to say, well, and this tells us that everyone was influenced by Pollack, or that a lot of artists were copying what Pollack was doing? That wasn't the conversation. The conversation was, sometimes we have to look at the painting from a different angle. And it wasn't that it's different from painting, it's actually similar. In what way? In a way that sometimes you paint or you take a photograph from an angle and then you look at it from a different angle. And that has nothing to do with influence. That's completely different. has nothing to do with things becoming popular or less popular. It's just sometimes you do it this way, but change it in photography. And the same thing happens in Jackson Pollock's paintings. It's painted when the canvas is on the ground, but then it's on the wall. So?
D, to support his argument about the way people look at Pollock's paintings.
And what is his argument when it says to support his argument?
And I say it's like it's the same with the photography.
The argument was this.
Okay.
He said some people think that you shouldn't get the painting from an angle that is different from how it was painted, for example. I don't remember exactly if this was the wording, but
more or less,
you get the idea. And then professor's argument was changing the angle doesn't matter. And then to support his idea, to support his argument, he mentioned another form of art that does the same. And by doing this, you show that it's not only Jackson Pollock who is doing it. There are many, many other artists who do the exact same thing, which means it can work, which means it's not wrong. So I believe now it should make a lot more sense about, again, how they form this. So when they mention photography, when you are listening for the first time, don't think about it as photography. Just think about, now, why are they even mentioning this? Well, it's to show either a similarity between the two fields or a contrast between the two fields. So it says, oh, in photography, we never do this, but in painting, we do, or vice versa. But no, it was actually a similarity between the two. And the similarity was sometimes we, for example, create the art in one way and we display the art in a different way. That's it. So, okay, that's going to be it for today. And I'm actually, for the next time, I don't think we really need to focus on listening anymore because you're already getting the maximum score. So just continue doing it.
Today, I would like to, maybe not now, but maybe next hour, I will try to make 2 or 3 reading.
Do.
Okay, and tomorrow...
Not make.
And on Friday, I will do writing. So I will send you...
I'm worried about the writing. With reading and listening, I'm pretty sure you are doing well. Speaking, we also did really well the last few times we did all 4 tasks. So with writing, I'm not sure, but just, if possible, do just one full practice test. Or just do the 4 modules separately and see how it goes. Write down the notes, the scores, the date, and so on. So
now I work every day with this, so I will send you parts.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Just keep track of everything so that we can actually go back and troubleshoot. But I mean, you're already getting really good scores in the listening. I'm happy to hear that 5 from 5 is really good. 5 from 6, and in some lectures you actually got 6 from 6, I guess. And that's very impressive. So thank you for today, and I will see you soon.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good time.